Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. Please enjoy this video on the Political Voices Network.
How is this not violating the gag order? He obviously has these people that he's writing the same talking points for that are violating the gag order for him. It appears that he violated the gag order himself yesterday. I know there was reporting on MSNBC that he's trying to throw a bomb, daring the judge to put him in jail, to try to throw a bomb before the inevitable conclusion of the trial. What is your take on all that, Glenn?
So with respect to all of the sycophants that dressed up like him and marched to the cameras, which, I couldn't help but remember 50 years ago, Steph, when Republican congressional leadership marched on the White House in 1974 and told a criminal president of their own party, "You are done. Resign or be impeached."
That guy,
yep,
Goldwater.
That guy right there. And House leadership, Senate leadership.
Yeah.
And 50 years later, the leadership of the House and a bunch of flunkies marched to a courthouse in New York to stand by a criminal president of their own party. And the Republican Party has announced itself as being the pro-crime party. There's no two ways about it. Does it violate the gag order? Well, the gag order says Donald Trump can't make or direct others to make statements about witnesses, jurors, etc. The devil's in the details. If they can prove that Donald Trump, quote, directed the others to make those statements, then he would be held in contempt for the 11th time. Here's what I would do if I were Judge Marchand. I would set that for a hearing the minute the jurors go out to deliberate on a verdict. That's when I would take up the remaining possible contempt charges against Donald Trump.
And so he obviously violated himself, right? I believe on the steps yesterday. He was talking about it's a Biden prosecutor. He was talking about the prosecutor, right? I mean, he said, "Oh, this is."
He can talk about the prosecutor. He can't talk about the prosecutor's family.
Right.
But again, the devil's in the details. You have to hold a hearing to see whether there's enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he violated the gag order.
So now we just were saying he obviously accidentally admitted to part of the alleged hush money scheme outside court. You saw him. It's the first time he's admitted to having an NDA with Stormy Daniels. Can they use that, what he says outside the courtroom?
Oh, absolutely. So after the defense presents whatever case it might present, I don't think the defense is going to call any witnesses. But the prosecutors will still have one last opportunity in their case in rebuttal. And, if there's some evidence that they want to try to introduce that has come to light in recent days, they can give it a go. It would have to rebut something the defense did. But again, that's a procedural matter for Judge Marchand to sort out. But yeah, this trial ain't over. And if Donald Trump continues to spew incriminating evidence into the public square, then the prosecutors ought to use it.
I know that the word has been used, bombed, that, what's his name, Todd Blanche bombed. I guess he did marginally better yesterday, but it was a low bar. I just love this exchange, was my favorite. Blanche, just so I understand, you surreptitiously recorded your client so you could play privileged recording between you and your client with a third party. That's what you did, right? Cohen, that's correct. Blanche, you understand that it's not ethical to record a conversation with your client. There's lots of New York bar opinions on this, but you're not supposed to record your client. Cohen, well, there's the crime fraud exception rule. Score! I mean, he's a lawyer. Yes. I mean, he, by all accounts, has done very well on the stand. And also, the case was already all laid out. Yes, he's admitted to lying for Donald Trump. All the documents and recordings back him up, right?
Yeah, Michael Cohen was pre-corroborated by all of the other witnesses and all of the hard evidence, the documents. So I think the jury was prepared to credit him. And he clearly got the better of Todd Blanche. We could talk about how Todd Blanche opened with what was probably the weakest opening cross-examination question in the history of high-profile trials. The question was, "You posted something mean about me on TikTok."
Yeah, that was so weird.
Are you kidding me, sport? Are you that thin-skinned, right? Yeah. Are you that petty? And when the judge sustained an objection to the very first question on cross-examination and told him, Mr. Blanche, it's not about a bias against you. It's about a potential bias against your client. Please don't make it about you.
Yeah.
Man, that is the worst opening line ever in a consequential cross-examination.
Also, Glenn, it made him seem like a crying little, in my opinion.
Yeah, truth is a defense there.
Cohen should have been like, "Thank you for proving my point entirely." Okay. So so obviously they played this podcast, Michael Cohen podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen Michael on TV. We've had Michael on this show. We know who Michael Cohen is. Like I'm wondering how badly you think that damaged them. I mean, because if we've been saying, of course he hates Donald Trump. Wouldn't you if you went to prison for somebody that threw you under the bus? Like, of course Stormy Daniels doesn't like him. I mean, what does that prove legally?
Yeah, here's how the prosecution is going to embrace that on their redirect examination of Michael Cohen, which is a really important part of examining a witness. Redirect examination after they've been cross-examined, right? So you can address the perceived weaknesses on cross. So here's what they're going to say. They played audio recordings with Michael Cohen saying, "I want effing Trump in prison. I want effing Trump held accountable." Here's what they're going to do on redirect. They're going to say, "Mr. Cohen, you told a whole bunch of lies, didn't you?" "Yes, sir, I did." "Including in front of Congress?" "Yes, I did." "That were under oath?" "Correct." "Now, you tell those lies to help Donald Trump. Did those lies help you? Did they benefit you?" "No, they benefited Donald Trump. I was doing his bidding." "What did you get out of it?" "Got prison because people found out I was lying for Donald Trump." Now, if you lie to this jury in this courtroom, what happens to you? "I go back to prison." "Do you want to go back to prison?" "No, I don't. Wasn't fun the first time around." So let me ask you this. We've heard audio recordings of you saying you want Trump held accountable for what he did. You want him in effing prison. Yes, that was me, and that's how I feel. Let me ask you this final question. Do you think there's a better chance of Donald Trump being held accountable for his crimes if you tell this jury in this courtroom a whole bunch of lies, or if you only tell them the truth about what Donald Trump did? If I only tell them the truth. Thank you. No further questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it. That's redirect examination.
Yeah, well, you had tweeted the prosecutors obviously believe Michael Cohen's doing well on the witness stand as they've decided to rest their case once his testimony concludes. I mean, I just love. First of all, Trump has to hear it, but just he's very he just owns it. It's like, did you call him Von and Pants? Yes, I did. Yes, that sounds like something I would say. What was the other one? Captain something.
Yeah.
He's like, yes. Why, yes, I did. Like, I don't get what that means legally. Like, we'd all. I think someone in Salon wrote that. Like, we'd all not hate somebody that attacked our family and sent us to prison. Had us go to prison in their place. Right? I mean, anyway. So you have to tell me, first of all, I'm getting to where I can't watch TV unless you're on, because some of the analysis is making me like, what? So Lisa Rubin yesterday, did you see this, said that the prosecution had or the defense, had their John Grisham moment and turned the tides in favor of Trump's hush money defense. This was when Todd Blanche got Cohen to question his own timeline about when he called Trump to resolve the Stormy Daniels matter, or if he conflated that call with a Texan call to Trump's bodyguard, Keith Schiller, to complain about harassing phone calls he'd been receiving. Am I crazy? How is that like some huge bombshell that's going to destroy the prosecution?
Yeah, it really is the only point that they were able to score on cross-examination of Michael Cohen, who was on the stand thus far for 14 hours. And here's the thing. Michael Cohen was Donald Trump's criminal associate, right? And then he flipped, and now he's testifying about the crimes he committed with, at the direction of, and for the benefit of Donald Trump. I put on more cooperating witnesses as a prosecutor than I can remember. The defense always scores some points here and there because they were basically career criminals before they decided to flip. So this is not a surprise that they may have confused Michael Cohen on which of the 6 phone calls he told Donald Trump it's done. Of course he told Donald Trump it's done, because Donald Trump then started writing reimbursement checks.
Yeah.
All of this is much ado about nothing.
Yeah.
It was a point scored by the defense, but it doesn't undermine the mountain of corroboration that supports everything Michael Cohen said.
Yeah. See, Chris, I'm just going deeper into my bubble.
Okay.
It's not just MSNBC bubble. Now it's just a Glenn Kirshner bubble.
Okay.
Inside the other bubble. It's like a Russian nesting doll of bubbles, and it's just me and Glenn.
Is it my job to pop that bubble?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
You are invited to Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal Save the World Tour. It's the political comedy event of the year, and it's coming to a city near you. Join Stephanie Miller, the queen of progressive talk radio, along with Hal Sparks, John Fugelsang, and the comedy duo Frangela, mocking all the fascists and trolls for a tour that is hilarious, inspiring, and deeply offensive to just the right people. It's an all-new tour with all new guests and a side-splitting evening of stand-up. Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal Save the World Tour.